Hi, a film that I watched last night as a Saturday night late movie was Mom and Dad, the most recent film from Brian Taylor, and I believe his first film as a solo director, having previously been a co-director with Mark Neveldine on the Crank movies and Gamer. This is a black comic horror movie starring Nicolas Cage and, excuse me, stuck in my throat a little, and Salma Hayek. Not Salma Hayek, Selma Blair. I did only watch this yesterday. I should be able to remember it clearly. Um, and the tone is one of gleefully gruesome, dark humour. Um, it's about an ordinary family living in suburbia, teenage daughter, young son. Um, but one day, suddenly, for no reason at all apparently, the parents turn on their children, and every parent is suddenly compelled to murder their own children. Um, we follow this in high school. We see this happen to various other characters. Um, a crowd of parents accumulates outside the high school, desperate to get inside and get their claws into their own kids. They're chased across the football field, get murdered in various ways. But we focus on this main household, in particular, a kind of almost Home Alone in reverse, with the children trying to keep their parents out as they embark on a number of plans to try and get at their children and kill them. The reason why this happens is never explained. There's some illusion that there's some kind of television signal or static that has provoked this homicidal frenzy. But it's notable that it's not all children, it's just their own children. Um, and another element that I really liked is the recurring thematic idea of parents being replaced by their own children and their own resentment at this idea of their own aging, at their own, as it's said in an early part of the movie during a high school lesson, the planned obsolescence of adults being supplanted by the next generation. And it's an interesting idea to include in a ghoulish, over the top horror movie. It's very enjoyable. It's very short. Stripped of the opening and closing credits, it runs to about an hour and a quarter, but it has has a traditionally over the top Nicolas Cage performance. Selma Blair playing it a little bit straighter is, I thought, very fine, and Lance Henriksen has a cameo towards the end of the movie when we, we remember from a line earlier in the movie that Cage's parents are coming to visit. So that then ties together nicely. Um, it was more enjoyable than I expected. As I say, it's violent, it's genuinely quite funny, it's actually quite clever, and the central idea is so quite disturbing that really doing it as a black comedy is the only way to make it palatable. The idea of all parents suddenly being compelled to murder their children, often in the most graphically brutal ways possible, um, is really quite shocking. So treating it as a black comedy, I think, is the only way that it could really have worked. As a result, I think this is a pretty decent film, a superior B movie, one of the better Nicolas Cage films out of the several thousand he's done in the last 5 years, and really quite recommended.